Stormwater is basically water that can't soak into the ground because there's concrete or asphalt in the way.
The rapid runoff events that occur during a rainfall.
Water that comes off impervious surfaces during a storm event.
When water falls from the sky or in the form of snow melt and leaves the site, that's stormwater.
Lake Mendota has 162 stormwater outfalls that dump pollution that's on the streets and lawns straight to the lake.
The water runs into a storm sewer, which is nothing more than a concrete pipe that dumps straight into the lake. There is no cleaning action there.
Everybody lives on waterfront property. The waterfront is as close as the nearest storm drain.
A homeowner might stand here and say, well, why should I worry about stormwater or erosion control? I live 2 miles from the lake. Well, not really. I mean, the lake essentially starts at the storm sewer inlet on the street, because once the water gets into there's nothing that's going to stop it.
So I think people just need to realize that water flows downhill, and what happens in their backyard can have an impact on the quality of an asset that we all share.
If you look at runoff off of native prairie like this, which is what most of Wisconsin was, at least in this area, the runoff off of this is extraordinarily low. When you turn this into even agricultural land, that would be one step up in the process, okay? Agricultural land still soaks in a lot of water, but not near as much as a native prairie does. And then when you go to urbanscape, hard surfaces, rooftops, driveways, roads, then we really change the hydrologic cycle and we run off a lot more water, and we run it off a lot more quickly.
You need to keep water where it lands and soil in its place.
Keep water where it lands and soil in its place.
Keep soil in its place and water where it lands. After that, removing pollutants from the delivery system, and then as a last line of defense, remove the pollutants before they are actually discharged into our water bodies.
For this watershed, Lake Mendota, about 0.3% of the land area is under construction every year, but that 0.3% of the land area contributes almost a quarter of the sediment that gets into the lake. So we know that if we can target a relatively small land area every year with erosion control, that we can do a lot of good in removing sediment from the lake and its associated pollutants.
Hence our erosion control and stormwater management ordinance, which is in effect countywide. In all municipalities, cities, villages, towns.
People who are proposing new residential or commercial developments that meet a certain threshold need to have plans for how they control erosion at their sites and also how they manage stormwater in the long term.
When they have a certain amount of soil exposed, they have to have an erosion control plan, and they have to say what practices they're going to use to keep that soil on site.
We've been pushing an effort to have more infiltration where we're keeping the water actually on the site, so we're disconnecting these impervious surfaces from the storm sewer network.
This is a pilot project to see if an infiltration garden, a rain garden, works alongside the streets in Madison to infiltrate water from the street. Friends of Lake Winger wrote it and the city got the grant.
A lot of newer neighborhoods have detention basins which help treat their runoff. The older neighborhoods like this one, they don't have such a thing. It goes straight to the lake.
It's all the water that comes down on like houses and in the streets, and it gets all this like ugly stuff from it. And instead of it going into the lake where we like swim and stuff, it will go into like the rain garden.
And so this is going to be gathering all that stormwater from the pavement and directing it into these rain gardens, where it will then slowly perk down and go back into the aquifer.
A lot of the plants capture phosphorus, nitrogen, that kind of thing, which feed algae and weeds in our lakes. And so we'd rather feed pretty plants in our rain gardens.
Well, I guess I'm interested in doing whatever you can to help the environment. And so this is a little project, but it still might be helpful in the long run.
Each crew leader should have a couple extra forms with them. So the crew leaders have the instruction manuals, they have the map. I think we have about 75 to 90 volunteers who are doing installations. They're concerned about sustainability issues, and this is a great chance for them to get their hands dirty, so to speak.
They're installing a tandem rain barrel, 2 rain barrels, because we figured there's a lot of water comes down.
We will attach a hose to it and use it in our garden instead of turning the faucet on.
I really like making deliberate choices to live sustainably, and I think this is, a really simple way to do that. So,
another good thing to do is replace turf grass with native plantings. They require a lot less maintenance, freeing up time to do other things rather than mowing lawn. If you're going to be doing a project or you're going to start a garden and you're having dirt delivered, put a tarp over your pile of soil. Make sure that it can't run off if there should be a rainstorm.
Keeping your car so it's not dropping pieces of metal, so it's not leaking fluid, so it's not leaking transmission fluid, antifreeze, all that stuff that you see in pools in parking lots goes into the stormwater system.
Make sure to wash it onto the lawn so that the water can't run off. Don't wash it in the driveway where the wash water is going to go right into the street. Or take it to a car wash that sends its water to the sewage treatment plant. When you're out on a walk or in the yard, just make sure to properly dispose of the pet waste.
Anybody you see carrying a plastic bag while they're walking their dog is improving the opportunities for swimming in the Madison beaches.
Everyone lives in a watershed, and you can go on danewaters.com to learn what watershed you live in. And then you can go to our Friends Group page and find out if there's a Friends Group already established. And if you have other questions or want to know more, go to myfairlakes.com, and we have all sorts of things you can do.
If you see something that you don't think is proper, if you see people dumping waste oil in stormwater inlets, which is a problem, report that to the cities, and we'll try to track it down and make sure it doesn't happen.
And finally, it's very important that we support our local officials for taking positive actions to protect our water resources. It's going to take some money, it's going to take commitment, and it's going to take maintaining these practices and developing new solutions for tomorrow's problems.
The water in Madison is an incredible resource. It really, really does need to be protected.
There's so many great resources here, and I want to be sure that they're around for my kids and my kids' kids.
There's no question in my mind that people in the future will thank us if we get the job done and get it off to a real good start now.
It's not other people who need to be doing this. We all have a role to play.
With every group's cooperation and the citizens' cooperation, we can probably make up that time very quickly.
It's the little things that everybody does that you don't really think would make a difference, but they all cumulatively add up.
It's not going to get clean overnight. It's going to take time. But with everybody doing their share, it can happen.
Swimming, boating, fishing, we're extending out the number of years and number of generations where those groups are going to have the same enjoyments that we have today.
Some of the benefits that we enjoy today were really made by the decisions people made 50 years ago. The decisions, the actions that we do today will have the big impact on people that enjoy these resources 50 years from now.
And we have started on. A lot of people are doing a lot of good things. But there's a lot more to do. So we have a lot of work left to do.
That's our cue for a little lesson in elocution. Repeat after me. In Dane, only the rain goes down the drain.
I can't sing it. You're trying to... see, it says here, in Dane, only the rain goes down the drain.
In Dane, only the rain goes down the drain.
I think you've got it. Well done.
In Dane, only the rain goes down the drain.
I know I'm tone deaf.